Matt, you want to see what's in Grandma's cookie jar?
So I'm excited to see what you're going to pull out of there. They're all good ones. They're all fun.
They're all good ones.
Some might just be more fun than others.
Character is everything.
Oh, man.
Doing the right thing even when no one is looking. Character is everything. Matt?
Character. I guess as I start this one, character is this kind of interesting word that we all, kind of have, maybe we have a definition for, maybe we have our own personal definition for it. Once upon a time, I was deeply interested in character. I joined an organization here in Western New York called the Character Council of Western New York.
Didn't know there was such a thing.
Right. It was an interesting story because the Character Council came out of the work that was done by a group called Character First. Character First was set up by a guy by the name of Tom Hill. He was running a business that was a manufacturing business in Oklahoma. They had about 250 employees. And he kept going down this road of my employee handbook keeps getting thicker and thicker and thicker. I keep changing my employee handbook for whatever it was, absenteeism, doing the wrong thing at work. And he had an epiphany one day as he was updating his employee handbook for, if I catch you in the employee bathroom with your feet up, purposely hiding, you're going to be terminated. He asked himself a question of, am I going down the right path? Yeah. And so he started to examine this and go, no, I am not. And I could keep going and I could create an infinitely long employee handbook with all of these rules in here, or I could get at the essence of why we do the things that we do and ultimately teach those things to people, what we expect. And that character, right, those few things that we expect done repeatedly ultimately become our culture. And he went down a book and he went down that road and ultimately created, kind of this idea of character first, 49 character traits. And I just loved that character is the result of behaviors that are repeatedly behaved, in essence, right? And that ultimately becomes your culture. It ultimately becomes the essence of who we are. So in character, I think especially that quote that you wrote down reminds me a lot of integrity. Because we can kind of, in integrity, I would say is an important character trait, or feeds into the broader topic of character. But there's many of those, kind of words that we could explore wrapped around there. But that idea of doing the right thing, even when nobody is looking. And how hard is that? It goes down that kind of easy. And in one of the past episodes we had out there, kind of the grind. And it kind of reminds me of that a little bit. Like there's an easy path, but then there's kind of the right path. Yeah. And anyway, exploring that, so hard. And especially where the easy choice is kind of taken us away again from who we are. We have that tingly feeling that, man, this might not be the right thing, but I'm going to do it anyway because it's going to get me the girl. It's going to get me the job. It's going to get me the money. It's going to get me the status. Yeah. That, maybe that starts trickling into a bit of root cause for where we are today in a lot of different aspects of life today.
Wow. There's a lot there, all right? Because character is a lot, right?
It is.
So it's
who we are.
Good and bad characters, this and, right? So currently in society, someone does something that they should not do. Then we say, well, they're a good person. And I listen, I'm like, I'm confused, right? I get confused. I go, well, are we defining good and bad people? Or are we defining good and bad character traits? And basically, what the story you told was Tom Hill. Did I get it right?
Yeah.
What Tom Hill was saying, when I listen to this, I'm like, yeah. He said there are certain things people do that they shouldn't do. And we know they shouldn't do it. So I pictured this person is an employee. They're getting paid to work, and they're hiding out in the bathroom,
Right.
right? With their feet up on the thing so no one knows that they're there. And you're like, are you torturing your employees? Or are they just something's wrong, right? A good character person says, you pay me for an 8-hour day. I should give you 8 hours of work, right? Matter of fact, if a really good employee says, I should give you 10 hours of work in 8 hours, right? So I'll tell you a story. So I had someone call me up once, and they were really pissed off at their employer, and they wanted to sue him. And they were calling me for advice because I sued my employer. So they're trying to get my advice about this. So I said, okay, great. I'm listening to the story. I said, tell me what's going on. They said, man, she ridicules me. She does this. She complains about me being late. And I was like, well, what does she ridicule you about? She said, about being late. And I said, so you're late to work? She goes, yeah. Yeah. I'm like, okay. How often? Well, I'm just 2 minutes late. I'm just 5 minutes late. I'm just this. And she makes a really big deal about it. And she told me that if I show up late again, I'm going to be fired. And I'm da-da-da. She tells me this stuff. I go, okay. I said, when do you get paid? And she says, we get paid every other Thursday. I said, oh. What if they paid you, instead of on Thursday, they paid you on Friday? Saturday. They decided that they're going to pay you the next week or the next year. Or whatever, right? How would you feel about that? She says, I'll be really pissed off. That would be really wrong. So then I said, then bring your ass to work on time, right? And she's like, what?
Huh? Yeah, it's not reciprocal.
Correct.
It's a one-way. It's a one-way character street.
Right. I said, no, it's the same thing. You made an agreement with them that you would do this, right? You would show up at this time. You would be here to a minimum of that time. And you would do this job. And in turn, they said they will pay you this amount of money at this time. They're holding up their part of the bargain. And they're looking at you, asking you why you're not holding up yours. To me, that was a character thing, right? It was just that simple, right? Hey, you said you would cut my grass. And you charged me $20, but my grass isn't cut. Why not? Well, right? I don't know what any of that means, because that's what it sounds like. No matter what comes out your mouth, I'm hearing
excuses.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's character. Whether or not you help the person you see trying to get somewhere, right? That's another character. So I'm going to throw in another story because this was fascinating to me. I'm driving up Ferry Street and it's snowing and it's coming down kind of hard and it's really kind of bad. And the stopped, right? Everybody stopped and the light is green and people are honking their horn and they're doing this. And I'm looking, I'm like, what's going on? So I started looking and I see a guy with one of those motorized wheelchairs and he's stuck. And I'm seeing this person trying to get them unstuck. And I realized the reason they can't go anywhere because this person's car is blocking our cars because they got out to help this person in the wheelchair who's stuck, right? And I'm like, holy cow, right? And by the time I realized it, she had gotten this guy unstuck. All right. So then everybody's like, get out of my way, or whatever. And they go pull up. So then I pull up and I get out of my car and I tap on her window. And I told her two things. Number one, I'm sorry I didn't help you, that I didn't notice in time what was going on. And two, thank you so much for doing that. Right. Now, if I had a job to offer her, I would have hired her. What do you do? How do you understand? Hey, by the way, come work for me, right? Even if you have zero skills in my business, I can teach you those. But I can't teach you to be someone who sees this situation and jumps in to help them because I know you will never steal from me. I know you will never cheat me. I know you will never cheat my customers. I know you will never do these things. Why? Because a heart and a character that does that can never do those other things. So character is everything.
It's foundational.
That's right.
In pulling apart some of those stories, right? It's in thinking about the word trust.
Yep.
In terms of us, we know we can't do things alone ultimately, and trust is kind of the foundation for all progress. And you can't there is no way possible to get to trust without character. Right. And as you say, you can't teach character, right? You can teach all the competence, right? You can teach. I can teach you skills. I can teach those things all day long. I realized that, in the manufacturing world, right? We can teach, we can train, we can do all these things. But for that person that's in the bathroom with their feet up, hiding, can't teach that.
Correct.
Right? That's just innate with who you are. So whatever kind of that foundational training that you had that got to that point that was instilling your work ethic and your view of, is this about me or is it about something bigger than me? Some of those character things, I love where you went with that. It's the essence of who you are. And when no one's looking, this is just how you behave.
Correct.
I pick up that piece of trash on the side of the street.
Right.
I help that person, right, that can't get the door open, right? I smile at different people because it's a lot nicer.
That's
all
right.
of those different things that in essence kind of, right, enhance life are rooted somewhere in that big word of character.
No, but I'm going to challenge one thing you said. So can we not teach it? Or do we have to teach it at a certain time in people's lives where it becomes a part of who they are?
It's really hard to unwind once it's already in there. So your base level programming, once you have it in there, right? So I'm a fully formed adult and this is just the way that I behave. It is really, really hard to change these things. And we know this. Well, there's lots of examples of you've gone down a certain path and how hard. Can you? Yes. But we know how hard that stuff is, right? There's some really great examples kind of, using the teachings of AA and some other programs that help people unwind their basic training and, right, kind of that idea of this is just with nothing around, this is how I act and how hard that is. So, right, AA and 12 steps and the community that supports that within processes and systems, sure, right? It does some amazing, beautiful work. But in essence, that's hard. And probably in the workplace, we're not going to put that much investment.
No, we'll just get rid of you.
Into people.
You need to go. I mean, I agree. We fire fast, fire quickly. No,
right.
but we can have a society, right, of high character.
Yes.
If we teach
and
it.
What would that look like?
Right.
That
if we teach it
amazing.
early. Correct.
Yes. Yeah.
If we basically say, hey, listen, what do we want? What do we want our community to look like? What do we want our family to look like? And how do we teach these things? How do we pull out the lessons
Correct.
And basically sit there and say, I see, oh, no, you can't do that. Oh, no, that's wrong. Oh, you need to go do this. Oh, you need to think about it this way. Oh, here's a lesson, right? I mean, but it's full of it, right? Aesop's fables, right? Let's really analyze what that is. Read it as a child over and over again till we understand it, right?
Right.
Brer Rabbit, right? Those things.
Almost all of them.
Yeah, Uncle Remus Tales. That's what that is. I've read Uncle Remus Tales. So we began to have conversations with the idea that we're teaching characters. This grandma cookie jar thing, that's all that my grandmother was doing, right? That's all my parents were doing. That's all your parents were doing.
Right.
Right? And the lessons that we share with each other, the lessons we share with our children, the lessons we share with the world, all comes from people in our community teaching us character lessons, right? So that when the time came, we said, oh no, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to do this. It's sort of like you're walking down the street, like the woman I said, she could not drive by them, right? She was probably on her way to work. She was coming from
busy,
work.
just
She
like
was
the rest
doing
of us.
correct.
Yep.
And she goes, oh, wait a minute, they're stuck. They're going to be stuck unless I help them.
Right.
That trash is going to be there. You know what drives me nuts are the people who walk their dogs poop on the sidewalk, and they don't pick it up. It's like that person, if that person worked for me, I would fire them. Why? Because I know there's something in their character that can allow them to watch their dog poop on the sidewalk and walk away.
Someone else is going to pick that up.
Correct.
For me. Back to the society that we're trying to create. Do I want somebody else to do all that for me? Do I want this thing for free?
That's right. Correct.
Character works into that grind a little bit piece. I think there's it's another one of those kind of foundational cornerstones of this, to where it becomes easy if we have an expectation of what we want.
That's right.
And if we want, right, a society that brings out the best in people, that enables all of us to flourish, to live in abundance, rather than in scarcity, then character and character teaching is probably a big piece of that, because I think of the opposite. When we flip that coin over and go, yes, sure, in the home, that's absolutely true. You're enforcing what good character looks like in general most of the time, but it's not all homes.
Correct.
And then when the kids leave the home, then all bets are off, with a few exceptions. Maybe they stumble onto that sports team that has that coach that is a high character coach, right? And I want to talk about character over the importance of winning, or how we blend character and winning for a different outcome, but maybe not.
Correct.
When I start turning on the news, there's nothing. There is zero, zilch. Absolutely. In a lot of ways, it's kind of going, you don't need character.
No.
All you need to do is succeed. And succeed is, let's just get as much money as we can, and let's get all these accolades, let's get all these praises, let's all of these things, and kind of go, yeah, but did I do it the right way? Do I feel good about that?
Correct.
How, right, from a community perspective, did that benefit the community, or did it primarily benefit me? So selfishness, kind of like opposite of character.
Correct.
If we think of character, if we kind of relate that to greater good, ultimately golden rule, there's so many cool things kind of wrapped around that. But I wonder, why don't we teach character? Why isn't there not like a united front wrapped around this thing to go, right, this is so fundamental, it's so foundational to where we all say we want to go as a society, but then we just leave it there. We just leave it up for kind of random chance.
Or we confuse characters with my moral assessment of what I think our society should be, right? You know, that's a difficult conversation to have in this time point. But instead of saying, oh, being kind is good, right? Even if you don't know the person. Not being kind is not good.
Right.
Being respectful to others is good, right? These are all the things we used to teach. And we taught them in schools too, right? You raised your hand. I sit in board meetings. It drives people nuts. I sit in board meetings and I just raise my hand and I wait. And people say, you don't have to raise your hand. I'm like, yeah, actually I do. Right?
That person's talking. I want to let them finish their thought before I talk over them.
That's right. Actually I do. And I will wait my turn. And then, so we have processes now in board meetings where, you know, you have to sort of create a computer system. You put yourself in the queue and all that, and to stop people from jumping in when they shouldn't. And I'm going, so if I'm sitting here and I see 5 other people with their hands raised before I raise mine, you mean I just can't wait till those 5 people go and just sit back and take some notes and maybe wait my turn? Because I don't know, I may not know which one was in order, but I do know that they put their hands up before I put mine. Right? That's what I do know, right? I get to a 4-way stop, and there are 3 other cars there when I get there. I don't know who came first, but I do know they were there when I got there, so I can't go until they go.
All 3 go.
That's right, because they were there when I got there.
Yeah.
Okay, right? Period, right? Therefore, if I can do that, then I don't cheat in an election. I don't lie to my employer. I don't cheat. I don't steal. I don't do. Why? Because I can see that's wrong.
It does not benefit the greater good.
That's right.
Right.
And in the long run, it doesn't benefit me.
Shortcut.
That's right.
Yeah.
Correct.
Just cheating yourself.
Just cheating as you're and lying to yourself. Mother would say, you know what when you tell a lie, you're only lying to yourself. Everyone else already knows the truth, right? We all know the truth, right? We know you're lying. Why? Because we know, right? It's just,
we can't control our body language. Our
Correct.
body language is giving it away if we're looking for it.
Correct.
Yep.
Or you say, I really studied chemistry. I really studied hard. I really did all this work. And I go, dude, you got all the questions wrong. You can't answer one question. So how did you study? You didn't. I mean, you didn't.
Maybe you did. And
Correct.
if you did, then that's another thing, because now you're not necessarily being very effective in your studying.
That's right. But most of the time.
But let's unpack the first one first and go, did you really?
Did you really? And most of the time, we're just lying to ourselves. We were studying, but we were on the phone. We were looking at videos. We were doing all these other things. We weren't concentrating. We weren't really studying, right? Right? Did you get this done, right? Did you do it or not do it?
Right.
So character is sort of
everywhere and everything, and it manifests itself in literally every interaction.
Correct. Every interaction. And it creates a compound interest in a positive way and in a negative way, right? Positive way and negative way. So here's the thought. What if at the end of the day, we sit down and we think about our interactions with others or just the things that we did through the day? I walked to my dog. My dog pooped. Did I pick it up? Did I not? I didn't have a bag with me. Well, I could have always gone back and gotten a bag and went back and picked the poop up because I knew where my dog pooped, right? Did I, when my boss asked me this, was I truly honest or was I dishonest? When my spouse asked me this, was I truly honest or was I dishonest? When I talked to my children, was I honest or dishonest, right? There was a thing that back in the day before we had our own cell phones, right? A bill collector called on the main line and the parent tells the child, tell him I'm not home. Well, if I teach my child to tell that person a lie, then I'm teaching my child to lie to me, right? I can't get upset when they lie to me. So am I teaching my child honesty or dishonesty in my actions and in my behaviors? These are questions because if we ask them of ourselves and we ask them of our children and we ask them of our employees and we ask them as an employee, then these things sort of change over time.
That's beautiful. As you were talking, a couple things. The idea of the compound interest of character just really resonated. That idea that these drip, 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 drip little things, kind of like I'm dripping $1 into my bank account, drip, right. Drip, 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 and I'm not even paying attention, right? But if I do it for 1,000 straight days, and then it goes, oh my goodness, all of a sudden that was a big thing in there. Or the opposite of that, which, and maybe that compound interest is at a much higher interest rate. Correct. Because, the negative is a little bit stronger than the positive in that regard. So in thinking about all those small things that I do during the course of the day, in any one of the aspects, kindness,
correct,
honesty, being truly honest to yourself, or was it, did you drift off of what's right? Did I do the right thing when no one was looking? Back to how we started this thing. And then kind of examining that and going, did what I did today, did that improve me as a person in my ideal of a person? Did it help my family and my ideal of my family that I really want, that I'm trying to grow and raise? How about community? What did that? Did it leave a little bit of a dent in the community? What was that? What was the polarity of that? Was it positive or was it negative? That's a great thought.
Right.
So I think that's a good one to wrap up. I know I'm going to try to do that, and it would probably benefit society as a whole if more of us did that than didn't do it.
Correct. And I'm going to do it as well.